Hello, thank you for joining us for the public input session on the proposed 2025 English Language Arts Standards. We are going to do a short presentation on the standards to help ensure your understanding before we proceed into collecting the public input. You can put questions in the chat if you're in the virtual meetings, or if you're in the room with us at the local regional public sessions, then we will stop at periods of time to ask for any questions in the room. I'm Lori Hernandez. I'm the Director of Standards and Assessment. And with me today, we have Barb Marquer, our Standards Supervisor, and Lori Pusateri-Lane, our English Language Arts Consultant. There are two reasons that we are collecting these public input sessions. We are going to first make sure that everyone understands the standards review process and the product of that process with the proposed standards. And then we are going to gather that public input on those set of standards that will be used for the State Board of Education's determination on if these are ready to proceed to the next step for adoption. If we are in an online session, we will stay on until the end of that session to collect input. And if we're in the regional meetings, same, that we will stay until the end of that designated period of time. But you may exit at any time after you've given your input or heard the information that you came to hear. Now, there are two reasons that we have authority to go through and review standards, and those fall under the State Board of Education. There are two state statutes that require the board prescribe uniform content and performance standards, and that those standards be reviewed not less than once every 9 years. And English Language Arts is one of the 10 content areas under the board's purview. We also have a set of rules, which are Chapter 10 rules on standards. And within that, there are two terms or definitions that we want to make sure everybody understands. The first term is the content standards, and those define the content knowledge and skills that students are expected to know and to be able to do either by the end of a grade level or a grade band. They do not, though, dictate how that's delivered, what methodology, or what instructional materials are used. Districts have local control decisions on that and how to do that in the classroom and schools. It is important to note that the content standards are the state standards, and they are the floor expectation for all students. Therefore, districts cannot further prioritize those standards at a local level. The second term is the performance standards. Those are the measure of performance to meeting those standards, and they explain how well a student should be able to demonstrate that mastery and understanding. The performance standards are to be assessed through the district assessment system, and teachers are required to provide multiple opportunities for students to demonstrate their proficiency on those standards. Now we are going to hand this over to Lori Lane.
Hello. I'll just kind of walk through an overview of the changes to the standards first. So the proposed 2025 ELA standards focus on the vital content students must know and be able to do, including evidence-based, explicit, and carefully sequenced literacy instruction at the beginning of each child's educational journey. The proposed standards include structural changes being organized into the 4 domains that you see on the screen: reading, speaking and listening, writing, and vocabulary. Domain statements emphasize a wide range of rigorous, authentic, grade-appropriate texts in reading, engagement and respectful collaborative discussions about complex ideas and texts as critical components of literacy in speaking and listening, instruction and practice across multiple genres with attention to audience, task, and purpose in writing, and explicit instruction, including word study and subject-specific vocabulary in vocabulary acquisition and use. Rather than being a comprehensive checklist of discrete skills, the proposed draft is focused on the core competencies of English language arts throughout the educational experience. This allows educators the flexibility to plan for a variety of authentic and engaging learning experiences in which students can learn, practice, and demonstrate their proficiency. For the reading standards, which were previously, in many cases, duplicated in separate domains, they've been merged into a unified reading domain with the focus on foundational reading skills in grades K through 3, as is specified in recent legislation and in Superintendent Degenfelder's strategic plan. You will notice that there are more standards in reading and in writing for kindergarten through grade 2, which reflects the importance of these foundational skills. Students will be expected to read and comprehend a wide range of informational and literary texts, including classic and contemporary works. Text should be authentic, rigorous, and grade appropriate in content, complexity, and length. Some skills, such as identifying and analyzing an author's purpose, are not introduced until the foundational skills have been solidified. The students build skills across all types of texts, increasing depth and complexity as they grow. In speaking and listening, the domain is probably the most similar to the current standards, but awareness of the importance of language development to overall literacy has become much more widespread in recent years. In speaking and listening, students are expected to have collaborative, respectful conversations about complex ideas and texts, to listen in order to ask appropriate and relevant questions, and to present information clearly. In the lower grades, the focus is on speaking in complete sentences, to express ideas, thoughts, and feelings clearly, and on listening respectfully to others. Those skills are the foundation as students grow through their education journey, and the focus shifts to delivery and style appropriate to audience and purpose, and analysis and evaluation of the reasoning and sufficiency of evidence presented as they learn to think critically. As in the reading domain, the focus in the primary grades in writing is on foundational skills, handwriting, spelling, sentence construction, and combining sentences into organized paragraphs, and moves to process-based writing using evidence from multiple texts to create strong arguments and to complete research-based pieces as they progress. Writing has shifted from being based on 3 specific genres to include multiple genres: correspondence, narrative, informational and technical, opinion, and argumentative. Students will be expected to attend to their audience and to address the purpose of their writing tasks using appropriate technology, collaborating with peers and adults to create polished and published pieces. And probably the biggest change that you'll notice is that rather than having multiple vocabulary standards embedded and possibly lost within the other domains, the vocabulary acquisition and use domain is meant to highlight the importance of and need for explicit vocabulary instruction. This includes the study of words and how they're used, both literally and figuratively, in general academics and in subject-specific texts in various contents. The focus is on building word knowledge and word learning strategies, which is key to reading comprehension and enables students to become independent readers and to express themselves clearly through speaking and writing. And with that, I will turn it over to Barb.
Thanks, Lori. So now we're going to go ahead and give you some time to look at the document. If you're online, the link will be in the chat. If you're in person, we have some hard copies and we'll be taking questions before we start accepting public input?